Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So this is Cypher Sigma, and yes, as the title would, or it's Chris from Cypher Sigma Screen Time, this is a kind of mid-year review. So if people have followed the channel, obviously whoever has, I do appreciate you watching these videos. So you would have been aware that obviously at the beginning of the year or near the end of last year, unfortunately my local cinema closed. It was a Cineworld. It got taken over by Odeon. There was a 4-month crossover period. I went to a neighbouring town's cinema within that time. And then when it opened, I think it's 189 days ago, or 189 days was my first visit. I signed up, I got a full membership with the help of my wife using a little bit of discounts. Works out about £14 a month. So yeah, 189 days, so a little bit over half a year I have been going to the cinema. I've seen 38 movies there, which equates to just under one every 5 days. Some of these have been 2 a week. I haven't really done anything more. I might have done 3 in a week. Currently this week, and as this video is going out, I would normally have reviews. The only movie out is Zootropolis, Zootopia, whatever you want to call it. 2, doing really, really well financially wise, but me and my wife have got so much on, I just haven't had time. And because she hasn't had time, and because she wants to go see it, I have to kind of wait for her to be available. So there is no movie review. I've looked, there is nothing else. The only other thing would have been to revisit Predator Badlands. I'm very tempted, but decided with everything else I have going on, I could probably spend my time a little bit better. But why? So why am I making this video, and why is there no review and all this stuff? As I say, essentially, this is just to give you an overview of how I think. So I have always been a Cineworld viewer. I've been to View several times. And stuff like both of these have good qualities. I've had memberships that have worked. I don't think View have a membership, but my View, I think has gone downhill. Cineworld, I really, really liked. It was on my doorstep, which again is a bonus. They had a Starbucks up there, and I'm a massive Starbucks fan. So obviously the new Odeon, it took a little while for them to get all the screens open and everything else open. There's a Costa upstairs. It's taken me quite a few months to accommodate the Costa, but I have an app and there's a few perks and you get free stuff on your birthday and that. So I've kind of been using that. So the cafe side of things, I have more warmed to as time goes on. You just have to find the right mix. I've got a very sweet tooth, and I think you just have to ask for a bit more syrup and stuff like this. But that's by the by. Obviously, I go and have coffees and stuff like this and meet friends there, because obviously it's quite a local place to me and a few friends. Plus, obviously, it helps the cinema chain itself. And obviously, when you have these cafes or these coffee places within them, they are owned by the cinema chain, and they do get the profits, so they're kind of an independent-ish from the main chain. So certain stuff doesn't work. But yeah, you know, that was really good. The staff have been really friendly. At first, there was a big push of every time you kind of, do you want food? Do you want food? Do you want food? That has died down now. They are there. They scan the tickets. They're like, do you need any help? And that's about it. So really nice. Glad they've accommodated and kind of realised people's interpretations. Everything you can do on a machine. A lot of like the popcorn buckets and stuff, if this stuff doesn't sell, it then gets reduced and you can go. Sometimes there will be a end that will have it, and you pay £2. And I got my wife an LEO light up mug when we went there. It was either that, I think, or a Tron coffee popcorn thing, but it wasn't that great, so I let her have that. Food isn't too bad. You don't really get, you do get reduction if you obviously have, you book it through the app and stuff like this, you get 10% off. So that is handy. It's reasonable priced. I only really get this cinema food. So this is the popcorn stuff when my wife is there, because half the time I don't want to eat. You do get a free one on your birthday. So I did get a free one. So I did have a combo myself, fill myself right up, which is quite nice. Again, an added perk that they do like birthday treats and that. So what have I thought? So yeah, it was very, very busy, very popular. The fact they reduced a lot of seats meant it was quite jam-packed, especially because we only had 5 screens. We had the main super screen up, and we had 4 one side. Now there are 9 screens, and then moved it over, and movies have calmed down, I would say, a little bit. I haven't been in a full cinema for a while, a screening, but there have been quite a few people in there. Obviously, you get space. They've started putting on more anime movies, which is a big plus for me. So I've got to see Chainsaw Man, Infinity Castle, Demon Slayer, um, and a few other little ones. So that was really nice to have that. Obviously, Odeon's kind of mindset when they have cinema films and stuff, if it's kind of kid movies, it will be on earlier in the morning up until the afternoon. Sometimes if it's very popular, I imagine like Zootopia, it's during the day. If it's an R-rated movie like Good Boy and that, you could only go watch it at 9 o'clock in the evening. They limit these to kind of the age ranges to the times of the day when they show them to kind of limit who, I imagine. So people trying to not wander into these movies or trying to see stuff and that, obviously if it's late at night, which I think is a good idea. It does mean sometimes when some of this stuff like Good Boy, there's only one screen in a day. It's at 9 o'clock, so it can get very popular. But to me, as long as it's a joyful experience, and the people are respectful, which is, to be honest, but I have had, I'd probably say about 99%. I mean, even going and seeing Wicked, there was a load of young girls all singing that before I even got in there. When I get in there, everyone was quiet and respectful, which is really nice. You don't really have many people talking or on their phones and stuff. Sometimes they do. That's what the staff are there for. I've seen people go out and I've seen staff members come in and tell them off. Just everybody do their job. That's what they're there for, and just be respectful. I have seen a few kids go in there and just not even pay attention to movies, which begs the question of why would you throw that money down because people are expensive. And there will be another video about expense and stuff because obviously, so it's been great. So £14, one every 5 days. If you take that in, that means essentially 6 movies. Tickets can be about £6-7 sometimes, can go up to 10 depending on where you're sitting. So there are kind of prime seats where you have backrest and legs adjustment, some where you just have the leg adjustments. To be honest, I don't really use the backrest, even though those are the prime kind of seats. I use the footrest sometimes, but to be honest, having my legs up because I've got so long legs, after a little while I go a bit dead and I need to put it down. So overall, Odeon has really improved. Say like 6 movies a month, £14. I don't know what that equates to. It's not even £3 a movie. Obviously, yes, there are advantages and disadvantages because I live close and everything else like this. Again, I paid it all in one lump sum, and having that money spare at the time, yes, was convenient. And obviously, my wife working for the NHS, having that discount, it helps. Still, 6 movies a month, even if you pay 20 quid, which is, I think, what a Lux, because it is an Odeon Lux, what I have. It's still reasonable, as I say, the food and the prices of stuff, even though they, I don't think they're too dissimilar, to be honest, to what Cineworld was. And I would say overall, people would class Odeon as a higher ranking and more premium cinema than Cineworld. But really good, as I say. Seems the footfall is always busy when I've seen that. Obviously, my screens haven't always been busy, but to be honest, every time I've been there, there's always been quite a few people walking around, rating around for movies, been in the thing. And I would say, based off probably the last few years of Cineworld, I would say it's 2 to 3 times as busy. I mean, some nights it's been absolutely hectic there. So for my local cinema, I find that's really good for an Odeon. I actually think it's a benefit. Obviously, I've got until I think June, July next year, and then it runs out, and then I have to decide if I renew. Obviously, as I've said, that'll be there's a few factors that I have to consider with that, but not for discussions now. So I would absolutely recommend it. As I say, even if you pay full price, 20 quid, and you're able to see 6 movies as you go as often as I do, it's not bad. I mean, as I say, I will do another video on price comparisons because I've got that coming up. But thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you for coming with me and experiencing my Odeon journey. Do you have an Odeon near you, or have you had an Odeon or a Cineworld? And have you gone from one to the other? Let me know your thoughts and feelings of stuff you like and didn't like. I say one thing, as I say, I found with Odeon, if you get the app and you scan stuff in, it's easy to book tickets. They always do offers. They have times where you can get like free popcorn and free stuff and reduced tickets and stuff like that. That wasn't really a big thing at Cineworld, so I quite like having the app and everything. Sometimes the app can be a bit temperamental, but for the most part, it's good. But yeah, anyway, I've been Chris from Cypher Signal Screen Time. This has been my 6-month Odeon journey, and I shall definitely see you in the next one.